And Mets in this weekend series, the sun setting on a perfect night as Noel McLean throws his warm-up pitches, gets ready to face off with this Dodger lineup with Ohtani to lead things off for Dave Roberts, Andy Pages and Freddie Freeman, then Max Muncy, 4 consecutive All-Stars at the top of the order, and then a former MVP in Mookie Betts, the shortstop and 5-hitter. Tommy Edmonds led the National League in batting average since getting activated about a month ago. Kyle Tucker's in right, Teoscar Hernandez in left, and Dalton Rushing continues to do the catching with Will Smith still on the injured list. And you were talking about it off at the top, John. Not much has gone right for the Mets this season, but here has been an exception. Nolan McLean, who just turned 25 years old yesterday, his last 4 starts, he's given up 2 runs in 24 innings.
Well, both starters do a great job with finesse, power, and spin. And when you're filled with a league of power arms, they don't have the combination that these 2 guys do with command. And when command is good, he's got 6 different pitches he can use. He's going to use that sinker and that 4-seam fastball. But what he's really known for is spinning a baseball. And that breaking ball is going top to bottom as good as anybody. And we're going to see 2 unique, 2 different style pitchers dominate with 2 different ways.
Take a look at Fox Foresight, built with Gemini on Google Cloud. McLean's coming off a 10 strikeout performance against the Phillies over 6 scoreless innings. He's got around a 2 ERA since the start of June, and the top strikeout rookie in baseball. Thanks to Google Cloud for these insights. 4-2 Dodgers last night behind 7 innings from Roki Sasaki. Dodgers have started the second half with a road trip through New York to take on the Yankees, then Philadelphia, now the Mets. They're 5-2 on this trip. Major League best 66-38. The Mets coming at 43-61. Only the Rockies and the Giants worse in the National League. Ohtani stands in, and off we go with a fastball downstairs from McLean.
Well, the Dodgers are great on the road, score a lot more runs. They're very disciplined. They don't chase. That's going to be the battle for McLean.
He's got a fastball by him, and he's been throwing that 4-seam more and more.
Well, he's adjusting to the scouting reports of while hitters are trying to attack him. They know he throws the breaking ball, the cutter, the slider. His changeup is getting better and better, but that 4-seam fastball just gives that extra life against the sinker that he likes to get a lot of outs with.
Ohtani smacks one left side, backhanded third by Bichette. Long throw to get Ohtani for the first out of the night.
Much of the storyline of the Mets, of course, is going to surround around injuries, but Bichette heating up, playing third base, making a shortstop type play right there. Good to see his numbers are improving, but the health has just not been there for the Mets.
Yeah, across the board, right? They got off to a slow start, and then injury after injury started to stack up. It's high and tight on Andy Pages, and really right from the start, you started to hear about the managerial change potentially happening. So there's all the noise with that, and now you got the trade deadline looming. We were talking to Andy Green before the game. He said this has been the season of noise. And so his challenge to the team has been, hey, we can let it drown us, or we can embrace the challenge of blocking that noise out. And he said he feels like that's his #1 job as the interim manager of this team, is to help alleviate some of that noise, some of that weight.
Yeah, some of that noise got even louder, though, with Soto going down with an injury that will land him on the IL.
Soto placed on the injured list today with a calf issue that's been bugging him for the last week or so. He certainly has not been the problem. One of the top hitters in baseball. Leading the National League on base percentage, just past James Wood in OPS. Best hitter on the Mets. Team overall worst in the National League in runs per game. Who would have thought that coming in? Overhauled this roster. Pages went around right there, 3-2. Brought in some big names, but they also said goodbye to some longtime staples that in a few cases you don't know what you got until they're gone. Look at Pete Alonso going to Baltimore. He's hit 20-some home runs. He's been in there every day while they've rotated through a bunch of different first basemen. Bounce back to McLean. A couple quick outs in this first inning.
And there's the inner half of the plate. That's going to be the theme for tonight for both pitchers. Who wins that and who commands that inside part of the plate? You got a couple guys like Freeman and Betts who want to get extended, and if you can get the ball in and then pitch top to bottom with your breaking ball, here's a perfect example of a fastball he's going to attack, but it gets in jams them, and an easy pitch to first.
It's been nothing but hard stuff so far. 10 pitches, all four-seamer sinker from McLean. Outside with his first one to Freddie Freeman. Back-to-back 3-hit games for the Dodger first baseman. Cranks this ball in the air to right field, but not deep. Carson Benj will put it away. And a 1-2-3 first inning for McLean. Here comes Yamamoto on Baseball Night in America. Here come the Mets with one of the talented rookies to lead things off in A.J. Ewing, and Lindor and Bichette. Carson Benj up into the cleanup spot. Luis Robert has hit a couple home runs in his first week back from the injured list. Polanco DHs. Simeon, Beatty, and Alvarez round things out for Andy Green against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The World Series MVP last year has followed that up with a great regular season. He's coming off a complete game against the Yankees.
Yeah, he is as good as it gets. This is a stud. He's not very tall, but he pitches huge because of his extension and because you just can't know what he's going to throw. There's his pitch mix, the splitter, of course, and the four-seamer splitting the majority of those pitches.
He'll go to work against A.J. Ewing, 21-year-old who came up in May. Grounds the first pitch foul.
This should be an aggressive Mets offense against a strike throwing machine. Last start, 21 first pitch strikes, which is impressive out of about 30 batters. I'd say that mark puts the hitter in the defensive spot quick.
Splitter right there is hacked foul, and the Mets are looking and saying we got to see another guy with a splitter after Roki Sasaki last night rode his. The Mets went 0 for 12 with 6 strikeouts against Sasaki's splitter. And nobody in the National League better than Yamamoto at throwing that pitch. In on the hands, back to Yamamoto, and a comebacker for the first out of the night.
And there again is another example of inside dominance with your fastball will make hitters look really silly. And with 2 strikes, he went in there and buried it and got a nice little soft liner back to him.
Oh, one gone, and up comes Francisco Lindor, who has kind of been the face of everything this year. Really, you can just follow his track with that of the team. With his injuries during spring training, never really did get his footing, so he injures his hamate bone right at the beginning of spring training. He didn't have the normal build-up. Just when he's starting to get his legs in the regular season, injures his calf and misses a couple months with that. One of his best stretches of the year going the last few days, hitting above 400 over the last week.
Such a dynamic player, and again, the roster put together by the Mets on paper got a lot of people excited about what they could do, but that paper hasn't lived out in health, and they haven't had many games together, so that's one problem, and execution becoming the other. So they're going to be an interesting team to talk about in about 7 days, 9 days.
Yeah, deadline coming up a week from Monday, August 3rd. And the Mets are probably the most prominent declared seller at this point. You've just got so many teams that still think they've got a shot. High fly ball left center field for Teoscar Hernandez. Ooh, not easy. Backpedaling and putting it away for out number 2. StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. You mentioned it. 21 first pitch strikes out of the 30 hitters that he faced.
Yeah, and he did it in a variety of ways. He's not a guy that's going to live in that middle quadrant of the 9 quadrants in the strike zone. He's going to stay out of that. That's what makes him so unique. And because he uses, and we're going to show you comparatively in about a couple innings, what these guys do with their legs and what makes them so successful as pitchers.
Bo Bichette takes downstairs. Now Bichette, one of the new additions, and he got off to a really bad start first month and a half or so, but You go back to mid-May. Since then, he's done what he's always done, and that is hit above 300 the last 2 months. Yeah, and he hits again. Base hit the other way for Bichette.
And part of his increase has been because on breaking balls, he's willing to go the other way. He's not dead set on pulling and lifting. And when you stay back on a breaking ball, you could do this at will. Now, it's not his best version of a breaking ball, but he sees it over the middle of the plate. Aggressive style hitter. Doesn't swing and miss too often. And puts the ball in play a little over half the time to that side of the field on breaking balls.
2-out single for Bichette, and he gets another one of the rookies to the plate in Carson Bench. First pitch curve for a strike. Bench on the opening day roster less than 2 years after the Mets drafted him out of Oklahoma State, and everybody you talk to just blown away with the temperament and the behind the scenes work of this kid. Andy Green told us he doesn't remember ever being around a guy that shrugs off mistakes and failure better than he does.
Dominating his first at bats on the season. I mean, he has come up to the plate, hit over 400 on the first pitch in the bat. He missed that first pitch against Yamamoto.
Now down 0-2. Yeah, tops this one along first. Yamamoto hustles over it, hits the runner, and the inning continues. Put it in no man's land, and he's got good speed, putting the pressure on Yamamoto. That's back-to-back 2-out hits.
Well, he was in no man's land. The only thing he could have done is try to lob one higher. But whenever you're in this position where you're the catcher or the first baseman or pitcher, you're told to throw it at the runner in case he gets inside the line. They'll call him out, but he stayed on that path.
And so it's a first inning chance for the Mets, who just have not been able to come up with a big hit, especially lately. Last 10 games, they're 7 for 72 with runners in scoring position. They've relied on the long ball, and Luis Robert has provided a couple of them in his first week back from injury. A home run last night. Got him from the White Sox this offseason, and he's one of the many guys that has dealt with injuries throughout the year. For him, it was a back issue. He's also one of the many guys that had extensive injury histories that they brought in.
Yeah, some of the Mets fans are complaining about the known commodities that they didn't sign and the unknown commodities that look good in a uniform but have a hard time staying healthy, to your point.
Yeah, because that's one of the best things about Pete Alonso, about Brandon Nimmo, is that in recent years you were able to rely on those guys to be in there. For Alonso, from the time he got here, Nimmo the last couple of years is staying healthy. It's a nasty splitter right there, 1-2.
Yamamoto has an opportunity with his pitching style. He goes with gears. He can throw that fastball upwards to 97. He can throw that split in 3 different speeds.
Comes home with a 1-2 pitch and checked his swing. Count evens up.
That would have been one I might have tapped my helmet if I was the catcher and got 2 chances after the check swing. Maybe a little low.
Deuce is wild in this first inning. 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-2 coming a moment. If there has been a time to get Yamamoto, it has been the first inning. He's got a 4 ERA in the first, 2.5 after that. Let's go over 2-2. Robert takes outside, and it's full. And there are the numbers since the All-Star break with runners in scoring position. It's very home run reliant. Forget what little offense they've had. Bichette at second, Benj at first. Head starts for those guys. Payoff pitch. Got him with the splitter to finish off a scoreless first inning. Today's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. With a new class inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. I know you've been back and forth. You were there yesterday. You're there this morning. Going back tonight. Watch these guys. Your old teammate Andrew Jones. Your old broadcast partner Joe Buck. Carlos Beltran, Jeff Kent. Headed into the Hall. Max Muncy to open the second for the Dodgers. He takes strike one from Nolan McLean.
There's some Hall of Fame candidates in this field tonight. Not all of them playing, but I'd say we got a chance for about 5 or 6 out of these two teams.
1-1 on Max Muncy, and on this team loaded with MVP candidates and former MVPs. Dave Roberts will tell you Max Muncy has been their best hitter.
He has. He's made some changes, really. When you think about launch angle, and we get so carried away with so many things, he was really trying to launch, and he was trying to hit for power, and they brought that bat path back into a lower angle, and that's why I think he's a better hitter. He's handling more pitches, hitting more line drives, and of course still has the power.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And he's going to challenge right here and win it. That pitch way off of the plate.
He tried
he
and just said no at the last minute.
Wow. McLean saying thank you very much. Gets his first strikeout of the game.
I think he would have won the challenge, but again, you know, sometimes you got to understand the leverage play and the leverage moments.
Sometimes though, so egregious. It's like, I get it that it's a leadoff guy in a second inning, but ball on Mookie Betts right there. Just to go back to what you were talking about, though, isn't it amazing? A guy talks about, okay, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of power. I'm going to be more of a line drive hitter. And the hits and the average has gone up, but the power is still right there. In fact, the power is the best it's been in years. Betts in the air to shallow right center field. Benj hustles on and makes the catch.
Well, and that's the point. Like, you're getting rewarded for certain acts that you try to do in this game, and some guys are just going to go all in for that one reward system. But I think what Max Muncy's done, not only defensively at third base, but as a hitter now, he's gone to that next level, and he's starting to check in. When you check in as a player, you gain confidence that this is sustainable.
What do you mean by that? Check in as a player?
Means you got to have the confidence to where the work you put in starts creating results. I know we're creatures of habit where we chase results, but you have the confidence that no matter what you're going through, the work you put in is now a new muscle memory, and that swing change creates that results that builds confidence. And I think players, they have a measuring stick on themselves that says, I'm not good enough, and now I'm good enough. There's no in between. Like, it's a game of failures. And guys who go through their ebb and flows of streaks, but when they reach a level where to themselves, they go, I have checked in, I've arrived, you'll see the steadiness continue in his career.
And you wouldn't blame Max Muncy if it took him a little bit longer to be able to say that, given his path.
That's
1 ball,
correct.
2 strikes on Tommy Edman. You know, let go by the A's. Years of fighting for a spot with the Dodgers.
Right. I mean, you don't get a trajectory like this very often, and it's attributed to him and the Dodgers for making those changes. Because I know the team that released him didn't see this, and he didn't give them a reason to see it. And again, credit to Max Muncy,
who's now second in LA Dodger history in home runs, just past Ron Cey on this road trip, trailing only Eric Karros. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Tommy Edman, hitting .341. Missed the first few months recovering from offseason ankle surgery, but has hit the ground running, hitting from both sides of the plate, playing all over the place. On this 2-2 from McLean, sends it in the air to left. Routine for A.J. Ewing, and McLean has retired the first 6 in order. You can take home a piece of the game. Bid on game used jerseys, baseballs, bases, and more at auctions.mlb.com. It is Jorge Polanco to open the second for the Mets against Yamamoto. Polanco off of the bench yesterday to replace Soto when he left with a calf issue. Struck out twice, 0 for his last 6 with 4 Ks. Polanco, one of those guys, signed a big contract, $20 million a year, but he's only played in 23 games and hit just $161. After a big season with Seattle last year, it's their best clutch hitter in their run to Game 7 of the championship series. At close to 30 home runs. But he does have an injury history, like we were talking about with Luis Robert, like with Marcus Semien. And it's been a heel issue, an Achilles issue that he's had to manage all year, and it's kept him from playing the position they got him to play, which is first. On this 1-1 from Yamamoto, he cuts over a splitter, strike 2.
Well, the Mets have an owner that's not afraid to spend and not afraid to put together a team to win, but the Mets fans don't want to know that that average, what is it, about $5 million per win right now based on their payroll. They don't want to hear that. They would like to get those wins and value a lot lower per win.
Spike that one, 2-2. Yamamoto faced the Mets earlier this season, actually the same pitching matchup back at Dodger Stadium in April, and both guys were awesome. 7 innings for McClain in that game. Yamamoto went 7 2/3. Gave up a leadoff home run to Lindor and then retired 20 in a row. This is away with a heater, 3-2.
Well, again, with so many opportunities to get you out, this is where he could throw 1 of 5 pitches on 3-2. He has such confidence with it. Might be a splitter. With the cutter, and that when you're a hitter in a neutral count, especially an aggressive hitter, is going to have a hard time on a 3-2 count against a guy like Yamamoto, because he stays out of the middle of the plate. He could throw a variety of different pitches. Other pitchers get limited.
Tries it again on 3-2 to Polanco, and a bouncing ball to second. Backhand Tommy Edman. For the first out of the second. For more on Yamamoto, here's Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, when Yamamoto first came to the majors, he was unfamiliar with the hitters, and his catchers called his games. Now, in his 3rd season, he is taking greater control. His catchers still call his pitches, but he is establishing in pregame meetings the sequences he wishes to employ. He's doing the same thing between innings, particularly now with Will Smith out, and that greater conviction. You talked about the same thing with Max Muncy. It's leading to greater efficiency. He is 4th in the majors in pitches per inning.
Well, his start against the Yankees last weekend was on a day of a doubleheader. It's the first game, so you knew with a bullpen game coming in the second game, it was going to be extra important that he go deep. 1 ball, 1 strike on Marcus Semien, and you were touching on this before we came on the air. His ability to be a different pitcher based on what the game calls for. He only got 6 swings and misses. He can go out and get a whole bucket full of them and strike out a dozen, but he knew that he needed to be efficient and had that complete game on 102 pitches.
And he did it in Yankee Stadium, where most pitchers, if they're honest, they're trying to miss bats because fly balls don't come back. And I think that's the confidence that he has. What we saw last year we may never see again. I mean, just his dominance at the end of the year in the most crucial of moments told me all I needed to know about this young man.
Semien chops one to Muncy. And a couple of ground balls for the first 2 outs of the inning. World Series MVP last year, complete game in Game 2. Winning pitcher in Game 6, and then of course finished off Game 7. Remember, he was ready to pitch in Game 3, the 18-inning game, 1 day after just Game 2.
Incredible.
2 up, 2 down in this second. Here's Brett Beatty.
When you see a guy like that on the mound, your teammates run through a wall for him, because you know, A, some of the things he did last year he didn't have to do, and B, he's just a bulldog, and he's out there in a rotation that's been beat up with injuries, and like you said, pitched a complete game when the bullpen needed it.
Wow. Beautiful curve feathered in there. Trying to follow up what Sasaki did last night with the 7 innings. One of the best outings of his career. Yamamoto's 0-2. Back to the splitter to finish him off. 1-2-3 second for Yamamoto. No score after 2. Nolan McLean has retired the first 6 Dodgers. No score to the top of the 3rd. At the bottom of the lineup coming up here. Kyle Tucker to lead things off. Went into yesterday's game 2 for his last 27, but went 2 for 4 and had his first home run of the month. Guy the Mets went after hard and were disappointed when he chose the Dodgers. I think both sides probably looking at each other saying maybe it's best we stayed away. Tucker's seeing the Mets the season they're having. The Mets seeing Tucker and the $60 million a year contract, but the worst season of his career.
Yeah, he's definitely not gotten to a place of comfort, and certainly against right-handed pitchers. It's really strange that other than right down the middle up, it's not handling right-handed pitchers, actually handling left-handed pitchers a little better. And that's the pitch right there. I mean, you think about a fastball, even though it's a really good one, caught not even pulling the trigger. Now in a hole with 2 strikes.
Tucker's averaged over 25 home runs since becoming an everyday player. Home run that he hit yesterday, just his 8th. MVP candidate when he got hurt in 2024. Last season with the Cubs, even though he dealt with injuries throughout the year, still an all-star caliber season. Crushes this ball down the line to right field and off the pole, gone. One of the hardest hit balls in Dodger blue for Kyle Tucker. A bullet of a home run.
Well, just like I said, the ball up against right-handers is the only one he's been really handling, and I think that ball was up and he smoked it. You see where this pitch is. It's 4-seam middle up, and that's the swing plane. He pulls his hands in and just barely keeps it fair.
First time as a Dodger, he's homered in back-to-back ball games. And the Dodgers are on the board first. Tasker Hernandez taken high. And we're talking to Dave Roberts, and he said, yeah, I know you look at the stats and we're the top offense in the National League, but he said it hadn't really felt like that. Pitching and defense, the biggest reason this team has been the best in baseball. And their manager's saying it's about time we start putting together some better situational hitting. About time we get more consistency out of some guys like Tucker. With a couple months left to get ready for the postseason. On this 1-2 pitch, Hernandez chases for strike 3.
Yeah, I think any manager of a really, really good ball club has got his radar out in case he sees something that he doesn't like in the future, that he wants to command the attention of the ball club. And look, they're talented beyond belief. And I think what he was saying is we still have to pay attention to at-bats, at-pitches in a daily routine that doesn't get lazy or complacent, because we can't just rely on winning all those games 2-1. You're going to outslug some teams. This offense is much better than what it's done at home. It's showing itself on the road a lot better.
Dalton Rushing, who has taken over the starting catching job with Will Smith on the injured list, pokes this one into left field. Yeah, and he's got a base hit. So, you know, Dave Roberts has, he's got his eye on it, making sure they don't cruise. What is that like as a player, though, when you got an 11-game lead, you're a shoe-in for the postseason, and really this is all about just getting ready for October. How do you not take your foot off of the gas?
Yeah, the human element is you go to the games prepared, but sometimes not totally locked in. You see certain stars like Freddie Freeman never takes an at-bat off. You see that kind of consistency, and that's why he's a career 300 hitter. But guys like Ohtani, when they get near the end and the individual kind of numbers are what they are, he would like for him to lock in at the end and be that guy come playoff time.
Bouncing ball to first. Beatty will turn and throw to second, and it gets by Lindor. Well, they've been one of the worst defensive teams in baseball, and for Lindor, his worst defensive season. Dodgers at the corners. Instead of an inning-ending double play potentially, just one out and a chance for a big inning.
This is where the first baseman has to get further inside the base, because when he throws it back, he throws it off the helmet. And you see Lindor is going to be looking for that ball more towards the third base side. And that was nothing he can do about it. Hit him right in the helmet.
This is the first time that Brett Beatty has played first base since May 1st, and this year the first time that he's played it in his life. And that's another thing that you can question in this roster construction and the philosophy going into this year. There were a lot of guys they were asking to play positions that they're not familiar with. Pages takes a strike.
Yeah, in a run prevention world, you would think that would not equate to great success when you have so many moving parts and so many different changes, and it has showed itself on this roster for sure.
Some cases where, yeah, it makes sense, right? A guy can shift from one spot in the infield to the other or in the outfield, but a bunch of guys throughout this roster. I mean, you bring Bichette in and have him play third.
Yep.
That takes Brett Beatty out of the position he's comfortable with, makes him a utility man. Jorge Polanco, second baseman for his career. They were planning on him being the first baseman. Oh, 2. Snaps a string of 19 consecutive innings without an earned run allowed by McLean. One-two pitch. Count evens up. Pages, an all-star for the first time this year. 2 seasons in the major leagues, 2 World Series rings for Pages, and now a National League all-star. Started out there for the NL last week in Philly. On a 2-2 from McLean. Punches one to first. They get another chance at it. 3-6-1. Not in time at first. They get the out at second. 2-0 Dodgers.
Well, that was always going to be tough for McLean. He finishes closer to the third base side of the rubber when he delivers his pitch, and this is a moving target that he's trying to catch the ball and find the base at the same time. So difficult of a play, no matter how many times you practice it in spring training.
Two outs, and Freddie Freeman climbs in. A Freddie chance here in New York. Quickly drowned out by these Mets fans that are sick of watching this guy hit. All those years in Atlanta in the division, coming up here about 8-9 times a year back with the old schedule. Still doing it at a high level. 36 years old, just has not shown any signs of slowing at the plate.
Well, the Dodgers do what they do best. When they score first, they're the best in baseball.
Sure.
44-12. And they've done it again tonight. So that winning percentage, best in baseball.
So they've given the air to Lindor.
That can't be. It's impossible. Cannot give it an error to a guy who never could get the ball because it goes off his helmet. They will change that, and even if they don't, they're wrong.
Yeah. You had good eyes to see that hit him in the helmet. I didn't see that in real time. Here's Freeman dumping a base hit to the right. Pages hustles first to third, and they're at the corners with 2 out. And it brings Max Muncy up. Took strike 3 his first time on a backdoor breaking pitch. 6 games on this road trip. Muncy has 3 go-ahead home runs. That includes 2 games where the Dodgers won 2-1 on a 2-run home run from him, first against Garrett Cole and then against Zach Wheeler.
Pretty good company to hit home runs off of.
Pages at third, Freeman at first. 2 in the bank for the Dodgers in this inning. McLean deals and Muncy takes way up there. A lot of fastballs tonight for a guy that loves to spin it, and went 6 up, 6 down using the fastball first couple innings, but the Dodgers 3 for 4 against the hard stuff in this inning. That's off of the glove of Alvarez, and the sloppy play continues for New York, leading to the 3rd Dodger run.
Well, this is a slider that backs up, but still got to be caught. You see where he was turning his glove, trying to adjust for the anticipated break that didn't come that way.
8th fastball this season, most in the majors. For Francisco Alvarez, it'll be the 4th time, or the 3rd time in his 4 years in the major leagues that he would lead the league. Two and two. Strikes out Muncy for the 2nd time today. The defense letting McLean down a couple times, but before that it was Kyle Tucker for the 2nd game in a row connecting on a home run. Dodgers get 3 in the 3rd. Tucker heating up for the Dodgers. Home runs in both games here. 3-0. Dodgers in front. The last of the 3rd, and the 9-hitter Francisco Alvarez to lead off against Yamamoto. Sends one away for ball 1. Alvarez homered in yesterday's game. Been one of the top 10 offensive catchers in baseball this year. Remarkably came back from a torn meniscus in about a month. Injury that normally takes us 6 to 8 weeks. This guy was raring to go after a month.
He'll be raring to go on this 2-0 pitch, I can tell you that right now.
Guy loves to swing hard.
Wasn't close. A rare 3-0 count from Yamamoto.
2 Ks, no walks, a couple singles that he pitched around in the 1st inning. And a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hitter.
Well, I love these 2 guys that do it different ways, but they do the one consistent thing they do is their lower half. One throws up the first base side of the rubber, and then the other one really slingshots himself with across the rubber up the 3rd base side and finishes firm on that left side. And they both do a great job on that lower half to create that extension and create that fastball, and both can spin it and throw their off speed.
What a good game for a young pitcher, kid sitting at home to watch. The way these guys, not just mechanically, but the way they go about attacking hitters.
Yeah, they really do. And now tonight, the errors have not helped McLean, but he's gotten underneath a few pitches that has gotten him off his regular game. And when he stays on top, even though with a lower release point, boy, his ball has a lot of life to it.
Leadoff man is on, and A.J. Ewing's up. Line back to Yamamoto to start the ball game. Takes high for ball 1. Thought it was interesting. I asked Dave Roberts a few weeks ago who Yamamoto reminds him of, and he brought you up. He said, yeah, he's not as big as John. It's maybe not his power stuff, but the ability to, on both sides of the plate, make it go both directions. He brought up John Smoltz.
Well, and what that means to a hitter is it's all coming out of the same window. The release point's the same. and his command on both sides of the plate has become elite, and that's why a hitter does not like facing a guy like him, because he's got various lanes to get you out. The splitter away from the lefter, the cutter in, the slow breaking ball to slow you down, and then the firm fastball.
Oh! It's 1-2.
That's a bad challenge.
It's called a strike. The batter's challenging.
Whether he's right or not, I think it's a bad challenge.
Extra
The call is
bad.
confirmed. New York has one remaining.
Those are the challenges again that I still shake my head at, thinking it's a 3-0 game. If that was second and third, the count changed to 1-2 versus 2-1. But it's kind of a gut reaction from hitters when they just feel like it's a ball, they're going to challenge.
Yeah, and one pitch later, Yamamoto finishes him off with a splitter. The doc was saying it reminded him of John Smoltz, and how about the very youngest version of John Smoltz?
July 23rd, 100 years ago.
Major League debut, 8 innings here in New York.
Yeah, I'll never forget it, and certainly that team was loaded, the Mets. I didn't finish as good as that game was. I finished that year struggling at 2-7, but I learned a lot.
That's a strike on Lindor. This is a city when the Mets are good. It's such a great environment, I would imagine, as a pitcher or player to be in.
Well, that was on Tom Seamer Day, so 43,000 fans doesn't hurt. Cheering on their home team, and a relatively unknown. Those guys didn't know anything about me.
Thinking we got it in the bag. We got a pushover rookie here.
And that one should have been a challenge
The
on
pitch
a
is called a
swing.
ball. The catcher's challenging.
He should have challenged the swing first.
Yeah. And they did. They just checked down to make sure that third base umpire Mike Estabrook hadn't called it a strike. And he did, actually, so they didn't have to use the challenge. All right, so it's 0-2 on Lindor. Slide to left his first time.
That's the first one of those I've seen.
Yeah, get the call on the field before you get the challenge. You think about the psychology of Francisco Lindor the last couple of years. He comes in here, and in 2024 it looked like he had established himself as borderline Mets legend. What he did to get him into the playoffs, how good he was in the postseason with so many huge swings for him. That close to a trip to the World Series, only to have the next year. Yeah, great, you get Juan Soto on your team, but you're bringing in one of the greatest hitters ever. And I don't know, as a big-time superstar, I'm probably thinking, okay, this is cool, but, like, don't forget about me. I just almost won MVP and then did not play well over the next couple of years, or as well. While Soto does his thing, MVP caliber season last year. Been talk of a split clubhouse, those two guys not getting along great. And it's a reminder that these are people before they're players, and that's a lot to deal with. And then go out there and try it at 98 miles per hour.
Yeah.
He takes the walk right here. So there's been talk, would they entertain trading Francisco Lindor? That's part of the question. The other question is, if they did, would there be takers with the big contract that he still has, about $30 million a year for another 5 years after this? And we got just the guy when the deadline starts to roll around. Kenny, what do you think?
Joe, the Mets are not particularly inclined to trade Lindor, but they're not ruling it out either. President of Baseball Operations David Stern said yesterday, "We've got some potential future Hall of Famers that we view as our core." He's referring to Lindor and Juan Soto. "And we expect them to be our core." Now, Joe, as you mentioned, trading Lindor would not be easy. He's owed $160 million over the next 5 years. He has full no-trade protection, so he can guide the process. And unlike with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer in 2023, the Mets are not inclined to include cash in a deal. The reason is they value Lindor too highly.
Bichette with a cue shot, and Yamamoto will throw to first to get him. Runners advance to second and third. Here, the Mets, you got to figure they're not too far off from being good in 2027. It's not going to take a full rebuild. It's going to take a tweak, and I think the best version of them probably has both Lindor and Soto on the team. But you also got to be wide open to anything with the way that this has gone.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the toughest trade deadline decision-making GM time of the year, mainly because what does next year bring?
Yeah, that too.
You know, I mean, the unknown of what the labor dispute and agreement will be can drastically change your franchise based on XYZ. And so I still think there's going to be a team that just shocks us and makes a major trade to change the go for it all mode right now. And I think the team that I've always said needs to be relevant and is close, but never really goes for it, is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if you got those arms and you got a chance to change your franchise at the trade deadline, I just don't understand why you wouldn't. And they're not that far out. I think 2.5 on the wild card.
Yeah, for me, it's the same discussion about the Tigers. I know
Yep.
the Tigers are far from the favorite, but if the name of the game is to win the World Series and the American League is as wide open as it seems, why not the Tigers? So I don't know if it should be as sure of a thing that they're going to trade Tarek Skubal as it seems like it's been made out to be.
Yeah.
Tigers right there as well, 3.5 out of a playoff spot. But there it is, what you're talking about with the Pirates, 1.5 back of the last spot. Grounded to second, Tommy Edman, and the Mets will strain him at second and third. All you got to do is get in, and then who knows?
Welcome back to Citi Field here with Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. Dave, so much to like about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. What is the thing about him that impresses you most?
Well, I think typically it's his command, but tonight he's not as sharp as he usually is. And, you know, this year he's been very efficient, which has allowed for him to go deep in games. Tonight it's a little bit more of a grind. There's some bad walks in there. But I think for me is, you know, he can limit damage. He can make pitching when he needs to.
Shohei Ohtani, supposed to have a bullpen session today. It was canceled. Dave, what is your level of concern about his ability to pitch again this season?
Not concerned at all as far as that. I think that for us, I think certainly the position that we've put in as a team, we have a lot more leeway to kind of make sure that he is as good to go and we don't have any setbacks. And he had a bullpen last week and didn't come out of it feeling well. So I think for us, it's just kind of let's take a couple steps back, not put him into a corner to make him have to do something, because I think honestly right now what we do have on our side is time.
Dave, thank you. All right, Joe, back to you.
Yeah, Ohtani last pitch on July 3rd, dealing with that knee issue. And the big thing here is, as they try to figure out when to bring him back as a pitcher, how hard to push him as a pitcher, his biggest value to the Dodgers is as their leadoff hitter.
Yeah, and, you know, adrenaline is a crazy thing. And when you're running the bases, you got to have that adrenaline toned down if you want to be doing all the things you want to do and stretching into triples and so on. I mean, that's the human nature of baseball. When you see it, you go for it. And then I've been trying to tell people what he's been doing has been miraculous and how hard it's going to be to do the full time, both pitcher and hitter. And if anything goes wrong with your lower half, pitching's going to suffer. Hitting could still go, you could still get by with hitting, but pitching's going to suffer more.
Betts takes strike 3 called for the first out of the fourth, brings up Tommy Edman. Well, you got a guy here, Nolan McLean, who is a two-way guy. Two-sport guy, two-way guy at Oklahoma State. In fact, he went to Oklahoma State on a football scholarship as a quarterback and was a two-way player on the baseball team. The Mets drafted him as a two-way player. He had 8 home runs in his first season as a pro. Andy Green was in charge of player development at the time that they drafted him. And they left it up to McLean what he wanted to do, if he wanted to pursue both, if he wanted to pick one. And Andy said he told him, look, I'm just going to tell you what I think. I think you're a sure thing as a pitcher, and I think the hitting thing is slowing you down in that sure thing, in that climb. And so he said, I'm going to think about it. And the next day he went out and went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts as a hitter, and he said, all right, I get it. Give me one more at-bat, though. He homered and said, I'm good. And it's been a pitcher since. Edman to left, 2 gone.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that he would have great power, because the power comes from that lower half. Very athletic to repeat that delivery, and it's unique in the way that he creates angles. And hitters will tell you they don't like the angle he creates, because it's tough to pick up that ball and that spin. The ball gets on you quick.
Here's the guy that started the scoring for the Dodgers with his hardest hit ball this season, 107 miles per hour, home run off of the foul pole. Now he sends one the other way that drives Ewing back to the track, and up against the wall, makes the catch. Then the top of the 4th. Dodgers up 3-0 to the bottom half in New York. Make your mark, become a legend in MLB The Show 26. Available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Luis Robert starts the bottom of the 4th for the Mets. Yamamoto comes home, and a fastball's by him. Kenny, you got a little something on MLB The Show and Yamamoto.
I do. I was talking to Dalton Rushing yesterday, and I asked him, all right, what's it like catching Yamamoto? And he said, MLB The Show. And his reference, of course, was to the video game and the fact that Yamamoto is so incredibly precise with his location. You show him where you want the pitch thrown, and he hits that spot. And if he misses, he doesn't miss by much.
Well, you're talking about it, John. I mean, it's, yeah, command is number 1, awesome, but it's not command of his fastball and a breaking ball. It's 6 different pitches, and as a hitter, I don't know which one of them I'm going to get.
Yeah, he has tremendous feel and athleticism. That's what it takes. You know, could he throw the ball harder and sacrifice some of that? Yeah, he'd be worse off. And he's a complete pitcher that's come over here and utilized not only the information, as Kenny talked about how he graduated into understanding the scouting report and creating his own. Man, I just love watching him pitch. Stay over that rubber, balance, and deliver a pitch more times than not right where you want to.
Warren Burner to second. 2 gone in the 4th. Always in control. I'm talking in the middle of his delivery and just of the game.
Yeah, and again, I don't think people understand. Try it at home. Try to stand on your right leg and hold your left leg up as long as you can. You won't be able to do it very long. He can delay his delivery and hold his leg up with balance and precision and not sacrifice any location. That is complete command over your lower half. Watch how he just balance and then go. Hands come out. All the things about pitching is timing. You got to be able to have the timing of your hands come out with your leg going down, and then when your foot lands, you got to be in a throwing position of power, and it's perfect. It's literally perfect. And those 2 pitches, I would challenge that one.
It's 1-1 on Simeon. You could use the line of the great producer Pete Macheska with his delivery. Ready? Pause. Go.
And go. The way he complements a hard slider, a slow breaking ball, hard split, sinker, cutter, and ground ball.
3 of them, or 2 of them, in an 8-pitch 4th inning. To the 5th we go. 3-0 Dodgers. Tonight is baseball night in America. Next week, 2 iconic franchises go head-to-head in prime time. The Yankees against PCA and the Cubs next Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox. Cam Schlittler doing it again last night. 12 strikeouts against the Phillies. Yankees just 2 back of the Rays and lead the Phillies again in Philadelphia. Phillies on the verge of losing a 4th in a row and 6th out of the last 8. 8-1 for LA here. Tasker Hernandez, strikeout victim his first time. Pokes this one to right field off the end of the bat. Sinking, diving, and down for a base hit. Hernandez on the way to second. Benja's throw, not in time.
That was hit them where they're not off the end of the bat. Great effort. And knowing your runner, you can possibly get away with keeping him at first, but heads up by Hernandez.
Way to take Wee Willie Keeler's grammar and 100-some years later fix it. Hit them where they're not. Yeah, Hernandez showing some signs of life. A couple struggling hitters for the Dodgers doing so. Hernandez and Tucker. And a strike on Dalton Rushing, who singled his first time, came in to score. Dodgers excited to get Will Smith back when they can from the neck issue that's kept him out since the start of June. But Dave Roberts saying today, hey, silver lining to come out of this is Rushing's getting an opportunity that he wasn't going to get to learn on the job, play every day for the first time. And then you figure off both guys to be better for it when you get to October. You're going to have Will Smith, who's going to be totally fresh. How many times are you going to get a catcher who's fresh going into the postseason? And you're going to have Rushing your backup, but with a lot of experience being the guy. Ready to get Snell and Glasnow back eventually. Edwin Diaz is going to rejoin the Dodgers on Wednesday. He's been out since April.
Well, this is the one thing that McLean can do is miss bats with that breaking ball. And of course, Rushing's trying to pull the ball, and he's trying to get a hit too, but get the runner over to third.
Yeah, he did.
Went around, strike three, and there's the fifth for McLean.
And that's what makes his breaking ball so tantalizing, because you're thinking pull and you see a ball over the middle part of the plate, but then it disappears and you can't hold up. I would think that Mr. Ohtani, this first pitch, I would not be throwing a fastball. I would think Ohtani is up there ready to waylay on one first pitch.
0 for 2 today.
Good pitch, a backdoor curveball.
What told you that you had to stay away from the fastball there? Is that just always going to pretty much be the case with him?
Not always, but just the trend of watching him his first two at bats, and knowing obviously that a base is open with Ohtani, one of the best in the game, and you got Pages on deck as a right-handed hitter, so you. And a hitter knows it too. So a hitter goes up there, and it's a game of execution and guessing. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose on your guess.
I know that you know that I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more, and we don't have, I don't know, I just don't see guys sticking around staying healthy enough to have 40 at bats against somebody, right? So once you reach the 15 to 20 at bats against somebody, it is the I know, you know, and I know, and I'm going to do this when you think I'm going to do that.
1-2 to Ohtani is a fastball that runs back to the inside corner for strike three. A challenge from Ohtani, but it looked like this did catch the inside corner. That is a sweet sinker. And a 6K from McLean.
Inner RF of the plate. We haven't seen a lot of them. Both pitchers' command with their fastballs been a little bit off. You could maybe say they're amped up a little bit. Certainly that pitch right there, when you get that reaction out of a hitter, he's definitely going to think that's inside. Great late movement.
2 outs. Pages the hitter. Pokes it down the right field line, sneaks it through to bring home Hernandez. First hit for the Dodgers with a runner in scoring position in this ball game, and it's 4-0.
Well, again, this game is going to be looked back as maybe not one of McLean's best, and I would argue, because defense, he doesn't give up any runs. Some of these hits, you tip your hat. But the game has been determined early on by that inning of plays that didn't get made, and certainly credit the Dodgers for being able to cash in on it. But 4 runs, and is that the only one that's earned?
You confirm
the home run. The home run was earned.
That's a bullet into center field for Freddie Freeman, who's got his second hit of the game and his 8th in the last 3 games. Yeah, 2 of the 4 earned.
But that's what happens when you face the Dodgers. We talked about how good they are on the road, and that's a little puzzling. I know those things will even themselves out, but they've been really good on the road, scoring a lot more runs than they do at home. And Dodger Stadium's not exactly an offensive juggernaut stadium, but this offense can put up runs anyway.
Strikeouts both times up there for Muncy today. Back-to-back 2-out hits for LA. And now Max Muncy notches a strike. Time for our Power Players, sponsored by Walmart Plus. This is a story we were talking about earlier. Cut loose by the A's in 2017, was considering retiring, going back to Baylor, finishing off his business degree and getting into coaching. Signed instead a minor league contract with the Dodgers. What a career he's put together.
Well, we'll see what he does. 2 times he struck him out, breaking ball down. He just threw that sinker in that got the strike call, so it's prime for it if he wants it to go down and in on the breaking ball. There it is.
Yeah, gets him for the 3rd time on that pitch and gets 3 Ks in the inning, but the Dodgers get another run halfway home in a 4-0 game. West Coast against East Coast, LA against New York, and man, oh man, has it been a beautiful week here. 4-0, Dodgers in front as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal. Yeah, Brett Beatty to lead off this inning for the Mets. Swing and a miss on a first pitch curve from Yamamoto, who was not nearly as efficient over the first few innings. Needed 52 pitches the first 3 innings, but an 8-pitch 1, 2, 3, 4th. Get that pitch count under control. Back-to-back curves, and it's 0-2. Got a shot to become the first Japanese pitcher to win a Cy Young Award. Jacob Mizorowski insane what he's doing, but the Brewers starting to pay attention to his innings and his pitch counts. Where's he going to end up in innings pitch? Christopher Sanchez not nearly as good lately. Paul Skeens has struggled. He's now 9-9. Up the middle and a base hit for Beatty to open the 5th.
Well, that's the first one, to my knowledge, that down the Mets have taken advantage. Down has been where the success has been for Yamamoto. He had 2 slow curveballs, and the split finger down didn't do what it's been doing all night. He hits it off the end of the bat. But down has been out city for Yamamoto.
Francisco Alvarez to the plate. You know, if Steve Cohen had had his way, Yamamoto would be pitching for the New York Mets.
Yeah. Like I said, there's not a lack of desire to try to get everybody he can that would impact this franchise in a positive way and be relevant to what their neighbors, the Yankees, have always been. Speaking of which, their pitching staff's getting scarier and scarier. If they get any offense at all, you would think it's a matter of time before the Yankees start going in the direction in the American League as favorites.
Yeah, the 12 Ks from Schlittler last night. There's a hot shot in the left, and back-to-back hits to open the 5th inning from the bottom of the order for New York. And tonight, Ryan Weathers, 7 strikeouts over 5 2/3 against the Phillies, just 1 run.
Garrett Cole's pitched good, very good, had very little run support to go with some of his games, and all eyes are on Aaron Judge. When does he come back? And you know what? If no one knew he wasn't healthy and he declared himself ready, and all he did was stand in the box, look like Aaron Judge, he makes the team better.
Yeah, just being there.
Just being in the lineup.
Mets with their best threat right here. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Top of the order, A.J. Ewing. Kenny, what is the latest on Judge?
The latest is that he is not ready to resume baseball activity. So we're looking probably no earlier than mid-August, and even that might be optimistic. And then as the Yankees approach the deadline, so what do? They need a right-handed hitting catcher. That's something they want to address. They want to add to their bullpen as well. But with Judge uncertain, with Stanton still out, it's problematic.
tricky.
Yeah, it is.
2.5 back of the Rays. We continue to surprise people, leading the American League with that 61-43 record.
So impressive what they do, how they do it. They got their home back.
They do. Living right in the Trop. That's looking for somebody to come up with that hit with a runner in scoring position.
Hard part for these next 9 days for the GMs are you can look at the games back, but that may not tell the story. You got to understand what your roster is and who you are and who you think you're better than if you make that move, right? And it's just so tantalizing this year because there's so many teams within striking distance.
Ground ball right side. Spear with the backhand by Freeman. They get the out at second. And the Mets are at the corners with one away. Best he's been in years at first base defensively.
Yeah, Freddie's got everything you would ever want. Veteran player. When healthy. Really good defender and obviously a great hitter.
And now here's a guy who a couple years ago, every time he came up in a spot like this, it seemed like he was coming through with one memorable swing after another, pushing, willing the Mets to the playoffs. They were 10 games below 500 a couple months into that 24 season, and then he went off. And Ohtani was the only thing that kept him from winning MVP. 6th season with the Mets.
It's hard to believe it's already been 6.
4 straight years he's been top 10 in MVP voting. 3 consecutive 30 home run campaigns. He's only got 6 this year. He's been stunted by the injuries. Passed Derek Jeter last year on the shortstop list, 5th all time among shortstops and home runs. 285 for Lindor. Mets are 0 for 4 today with runners in scoring position. That makes them 7 for their last 76. Yamamoto's 0-1. Lindor swings and misses. Strike 2.
Just beat him upstairs. See if he goes away with 2 strikes here. They're going up and in. Tried to get it there. That's the first one he kind of pulled and got flat over the middle on that split finger. That was a splitter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit lack of that late break on the outside part of the plate. So you could do it again if you wanted, actually execute way out there.
Back to the fastball, missed up. It's a 102-pitch complete game against the Yankees last weekend. 75 pitchers with one away here in the 5th. That's still looking for their first runs, though. They've only scored 5 runs in the 4 games against LA this year. Popped up. Left side, Max Muncy. Lindor is out number 2.
Same thing here as Ohtani coming to the plate. An aggressive first pitch swinger. And Yamamoto knows that.
Does that mean anything but a fastball?
I would agree.
Beatty at third. You in at first. That first and second, nobody out in this inning. Up to Bichette. Curve away. That is a foul ball. Bichette, who was the pivot for the Mets when they lost out on Kyle Tucker. A couple hours after Tucker signed with the Dodgers. Bichette, who a lot of people thought was going to head to Philadelphia, signed this 3-year contract with the Mets. And opt-outs after the first 2 years. That'll be another storyline to follow this offseason in New York. 2 on, 2 out, 1-1 pitch. Misses inside. Ball 2.
I know him old. I know him. Facing his dad and seeing where his dad's hands were and where he's at, it's just similar. It's so eerie to see this generation of young players following their father's footsteps and creating their own legacy. You see his dad was a little bit bigger than him, but had that same kind of aggressive, hands up, almost at the neck, looking to do damage.
Perennial all-star in the 90s, Dante. Here comes the 2-2 from Yamamoto. Bichette climbs the ladder and stays alive. This close to being, we talk about Yamamoto, the World Series MVP. If Rojas doesn't hit that home run, this is your World Series MVP. Bo Bichette returning after missing a month and a half with a knee injury, and was on the verge of being that Game 7 hero. Broken bat, base hit left center, and Bichette and the Mets crack through here in the 5th. Kicked by Hernandez. Nobody advances any further. It's 4-1. Years of being one of the best hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position, and he contributes right here. Here it was, and it had Rogers Center absolutely come unglued. That place was shaking, and it stayed that way for most of the night before the Dodgers pulled the rug out in the 9th.
Yeah, bad knee. You don't have to run when you hit a homer. You can jog. That place was loud.
Where does that rank in the loudest places you've been in?
I thought Philly was pretty loud that one year, but I think that one right there was a hunger in that crowd in that country. That was loudest I've ever been in.
How about Metrodome?
Well, the Metrodome, certainly a different facility that probably trapped the sound the same way. Minnesota was loud, and it was just a tick below what Toronto was.
Because, like you said, you had the angst of it's been 30+ years since the Blue Jays had been there. And now you look in Toronto, last place.
It's been not what they were looking forward to. And, you know, execution and getting hot. This has been a league of getting hot and running off 10+ games in a winning streak. We saw what Boston has been able to do. Teams are 10 days away from changing their plight.
You talk about the kids of the dads. Vlad Jr. just 6 home runs this year. Benj up there as the tying run, takes a splitter in the dirt. The rookie's 1 for 2 today after he showed off the defense last night, showed off the arm last night. 2 outfield assists, including one where his throw is 100 miles per hour to get Freddie Freeman at home. Bouncing ball past Yamamoto. Betts charges from short, takes a funky hop and throws him out. Mookie Betts, who you no longer even blink at, playing shortstop. The perennial Gold Glover in right has moved to short, and he's silky smooth there these days. Mets getting the board though, 4-1. A leadoff hit from Brett Beatty and a 2-out hit from Bo Bichette has the Mets on the board. To the 6th inning we go, where Mookie Betts will lead off. Betts, Edman, and Tucker. And the play that Betts made to finish off the bottom of the 5th inning leads us into a discussion about the season Betts is having at the plate. It's the worst of his career. Part of that is he got hurt early on, week into the season, injured his oblique. Took him some time to come back from that. No longer is he the 900+ OPS outfielder that was, winning an MVP, contending for MVPs. But when you put together elite defense at shortstop, you get an OPS above 700, that's still a really valuable player.
It's just amazing. I think words don't describe it. You get to see it on a regular basis. The fans of LA probably aren't amazed anymore because they've seen it. I mean, to take a high-level right fielder who's probably one of the best right fielders in the game and move him to short and say, oh, that's nice for a year, looks good, boy, he's athletic.
Yeah.
But to do it full time is amazing. That transition doesn't happen very often in the big leagues.
Sharply hitting through, base hit for Betts to open the 6th. Unprecedented move, really, to be that good, that established of an outfielder, and to move into shortstop. It happens the other way. You see guys move off of short to the outfield, but it had never happened that a guy had played that much in the outfield moved to short. And to not just make the move, like you said, but it's at the point now where you don't even think twice about it.
It's amazing.
He's on to open up this 6th inning against McLean and Tommy Edman.
It's also amazing over time how the certain positions have changed offensively what you expect. Like you could a long time ago be a light hitting, tremendous defensive shortstop. Now the shortstops are really good offensively, and maybe catcher is the position you could sacrifice defense for offense. In an era where it's tough to score, you're seeing some premier positions being handled both ways.
I'm good, brother. You?
I know you talk about, especially in the postseason, but keeping the leadoff hitter off base, keep the pressure down. Dodgers in this series, leading off innings are 10 for 15.
Yeah, that's not going to be a recipe of success if you're on the other side of that. That is stress city, and something pitchers usually don't wiggle out of against really good teams, maybe once in a while. We've all had those games as pitchers where you get through 3 innings and there's traffic, maybe 9, 8 guys.
Edman knifes one to short. What a pick by Lindor, and he gets the out at second. Off balance, and it looked like that ball hit a rock or something.
Yeah, it had
Still
spin.
able to get it.
Got jammed and had spin going away from him, and there's another athletic shortstop making this play. Watch this ball change directions, and he makes a great play. What I was going to say is you get in the 4th inning and you're like, you think it's the 8th, and you just can't believe it's only the 4th because you've been in and out of so much trouble. That's the fatigue factor that great teams will put on you.
Even if it's the same number of pitches as
Correct.
a game. Yeah. Tucker, swing and a miss. Boy, this is a scary proposition for the rest of the league. This Dodger offense, #1 in the league in just about everything, even though Tucker hadn't done much. But these 2 swings today, his hardest hit ball is a Dodger home run, and then he drove a ball the other way. It's as good as the swing has looked maybe at any point this year.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he's in between. When you connect like that, you're committed, and your swing is good, and your bat path's good, and he's gotten that click, that sound, and that result.
Runner takes off and no throw.
It's funny because, again, I talk about chasing results. You get the click and the sound, and it's a line drive to right field, and you're like, hang with him.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good, even though it should, because you've hit the ball hard. When you get the results, you don't really sometimes care how hard the ball's hit off the bat, but you know what something's going well when you can barrel one to left field, barrel one to right field, and now this time go right up the middle.
On this 2-1, Tucker watches it miss way outside. Well, McLean 7 strikeouts today, hasn't walked anybody.
Yeah, this one's an unintentional, intentional pitch around, it looks like.
And there it is. And this is part of the reason why. Time for Above and Beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. Homered yesterday. His first one this month, and then today crushed the ball off of the foul pole. Back-to-back days going deep. Came into the series 2 for his last 27, but 3 for 5 with a pair of bombs this weekend. Yeah, kind of like the Dodgers, a bit backwards. Nolan McLean splits. Been much better on the road. 5-1 with a 2.29 away from New York. In danger of falling to 2-6 here at Citi Field with an ERA that's double.
Yeah, he definitely coming into this game hot, but he's facing a hot team. And what this Dodger team has done after the first 2 innings, they hadn't gotten a hit off the fastball and the sinker, and 5 for their last 10. So they've made the adjustments, and they've seen what McLean's trying to do to him, and that's why they're ahead.
Bullpen gets cranking. Tasker Hernandez doubled and scored last inning. Fouls back the first pitch. Hernandez missed a month with a hamstring injury. He had really gotten hot prior to getting hurt. First game back had 2 hits, and then a miserable month stretch. Last night had 2 hits. It was the first time that he had had multiple hits in a game since that first game back a month before. But it's another guy where there is so much room for more. Back to the conversation we're having about this offense of Dave Roberts before the game. This is another source, they feel like, of more to come. Dodgers trying to take the run right back. First and second, one away. Ball and a strike.
This is the worst part about being a pitcher. You're down 4-1. You know this is your last inning. You want to put up a 0 and give your team a chance. You got traffic on the bases.
Got a chase. And you figure he shouldn't give Hernandez anything close.
Yeah, the dangerous part is, you know, you got 3 pitches you can get him out with. You got to lock in on a pitch, though. You can't just know that anything you throw is going to get him out. You lock in on the pitch with 2 strikes, and you execute and get him out.
Good stop by Alvarez this time.
I learned the hard way early on. You know that a guy swinging at your slider can't hit it, so you just throw it. But you can't just throw it. You got to be able to throw it with conviction and know that you make the right pitch, you're good to get him out. When you try to make it too good, or you try to just completely waste it so you don't give up a 2-strike, it's just a wasted pitch. And I learned from Maddox, there's no such thing as a wasted pitch. You can make a pitch to get him out. And see, there's 2. He's a little bit tired, obviously late in the game, but there's 2 wasted pitches.
Ball out of hand.
Yeah.
Give up on it.
Right, exactly. And the swing before is what really kind of throws you off. Like, he swung at a ball that was in the left-hander's batter's box, so you go, oh, he's going to swing at anything that's close.
And he ends up walking him. And so the first 2 walks of the game from McLean coming back to back here in the 6th to load the bases for Dalton Rushing. Rushing's got a grand slam against the Mets this year against Devin Williams back on Jackie Robinson Day in April. One of the 11 home runs that he's hit, and a bunch of them in that early stretch. He's among the league leaders first couple weeks into the season in a backup role.
He's got to locate this sinker to get a ground ball, because you know what Rushing's trying to do, lift it over the infielders' heads.
Bangs it up the middle. It is a double play to get McLean out of the jam. He's able to go 6. as rushing lines into a double play. You know, the old baseball cliche that it tends to even itself out. Lincoln and Duncan tonight. Bad luck, bad defense behind McLean, but a hot shot that turns into a double play to help him finish off 6. Luis Robert takes a ball from Yamamoto. He keeps the Mets in the game 4-1. Robert's 0 for 2 today. Mets got their first run against Yamamoto last inning. .86 pitches for the Dodger ace. You know, there was a reputation of him being, I don't know if brittle is the word, but got to really keep an eye on him. You know, he needed his specific schedule coming from Japan. But he's proven that as long as he gets those full 5 days off between starts, you can push him as far as you want to push him. And if there were any doubts left about that as last season went on, he put any of those to rest with what he did in October.
Yeah, he sure did.
Not quite as sharp tonight, though. He's walked a couple. He's fallen behind more than usual. And it's 3-1 on Robert. Edgardo Enriquez and Alex Vesia have both started to loosen. Yamamoto's 3-1. Robert grounds it foul, 3-2. Walked him. 3rd one.
Well, where he's been effective is the ball down, and power splits, power fastballs down, get ground balls. And where he normally is, there's a lot of outs. And he hasn't been as sharp tonight, but that's a sign of a good pitcher. He's battled his way into the 6th inning.
As the Fisher Investments player profile, leadoff man is aboard here in the 6th inning. Jorge Polanco to the plate. Yamamoto, after not walking anybody against the Yankees in the complete game, has issued 3 of them here. Strike 1 on Polanco. Talk about the reliability of Yamamoto, and the Dodgers have needed him as much as ever, given Snell and Glass now haven't been available. They've gotten a total of 8 starts from those 2 guys. You're talking about Ohtani earlier. He's not pitched since July 3rd. Sounds like it's going to be a while before he'll pitch again. But the sure thing has been Yamamoto. Who's 0-2 to Polanco. Is swung on and missed. Half-hearted swing and a miss right there. On a splitter for his 4th K.
Mets have had a hard time against the split finger fastball, and a lot of hitters are going to have a hard time because that pitch has become such a weapon.
That's the #1 pitch when you're looking at average against. Hardest pitch to hit in baseball. Marcus Semien lofts one in the air to center field for Andy Pages. I've heard some hitters theorize that, you know, they get so much work done these days on the trajectory pitching machines that can simulate actual pitches. It doesn't replicate splitters nearly as well as it does everything else. So that's one theory why guys can't hit it.
That's exactly right. And I think, you know, for me personally in '96, that changed my trajectory as a starting pitcher when I came up with that. It's just comes out of the hand like a fastball, and to a left-handed hitter, they'll just tell you when it drops and disappears, you don't have the time to recognize it. You swing.
Then it went away collectively across baseball for a few years. It got a reputation that it was an injury-inducing pitch, but it's made a big comeback in recent years.
Yeah, just to clarify, forkball versus splitter is two different things. The forkball is where you dig in between your fingers and you get more of a knuckleball tumbler. The splitter is thrown more like a fastball, and it's an easy pitch to throw, in my opinion, without the stress that the forkball creates.
No matter your finger hand size?
No, you do have
You
to
need a
have.
bigger hand.
Yeah. I don't think a guy with a smaller hand, he's probably got a better chance at a changeup than he does as a split.
Now, Yamamoto doesn't have the biggest hands, but pretty much every pitcher comes up throwing that pitch in Japan, learning how to do it. And that's been part of the increase in that pitch across baseball in recent years, has been the influx of pitchers from Japan. 3-0 on Brett Beatty. Both pitchers solid tonight, but both digging deep to try and finish off 6 innings. Runner at first, 2 out. 3-1 pitch. Full count.
Seeing a 4-1 game with 2 outs and you're kind of at the end of your rope, you would want him to just put the ball in play here, but his ability to throw multiple pitches, as we talked about, he doesn't have to throw a fastball here, because traditionally he can throw any one of his 3 off speeds and get a swing and miss or a ground ball.
His 100th pitch of the night is a curve that just misses high, but a challenge
Pitch
coming
is
here
called a
from
ball,
Rushing,
it catches challenge.
and I think it's going to get him strike 3 to finish off his night. It does.
The call is overturned. It is a strike.
Now it looked like everybody besides Rushing had given up on that pitch, but it came back to catch the top of the zone and finish off the 6th inning for Yamamoto. Well, the Dodgers and the Giants both left town in 1958. A few years later, 1962, wearing the blue of the Dodgers, wearing the orange of the Giants, the New York Mets were hatched. 100 losses, 5 of their first 6 seasons, but then in their 8th year, the amazing Mets winning it all behind Gil Hodges, a former Dodger. Ohtani sends the first pitch he sees from Daniel Duarte in the air to the seats for strike 1.
Here's why I try to tell people ABS, it's good to challenge, but it would never be good full time. That's an unhittable pitch, and to touch the top of the line, which we got a chance to see, hitters will tell you no chance to hit it. Catchers have to basically guess if that touches the top of that line, it's worth the challenge. In that situation, you got the call.
Gotta love the complete game that Yamamoto threw last weekend when he had everything dialed in, but I've got to imagine this is the kind of start you can be pretty proud of on a night where you didn't have your best stuff.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, some of your greatest games are what no one would know based on your feeling or lack of feel of pitches.
In the air to center field, Robert, and whoa, Ewing cuts in front and makes the catch.
Ewing was brave. That's a big man.
Yeah, coming fast.
That's a big man, and certainly he was going to take a little different angle.
Calling it the whole way, but so is Ewing. Usually the center fielder has priority there. Ewing didn't peel off and probably saw his life flash before his eyes. Here's Pages to left, a little more routine this time. Doesn't have to dodge any missiles. 2 out. So Daniel Duarte taking over for the 7th inning, taking over for Nolan McLean. Yeah, retiring the first 2 in the Dodger lineup. Now Freddie Freeman comes up.
Well, there's a couple more innings and another game to go on this road trip, but you think about where the Dodgers were, and they're 3 games before the All-Star break, and this big 9-game road trip. Been pretty good to go on the East Coast after the All-Star break and get off to a good start. is always good because you're a little nervous. I know I was always nervous when the guys would come out of the break, hoping they were ready, hoping the break helped them.
Freddie Freeman's got a third consecutive 3-hit game. Just snuck it by Simeon. I think he said, ow, jammed him a little bit. But he'll take it.
He just has a unique way with his hands, the barrel. Doesn't matter if it's off the end, jam.
Yeah, you're right. He knows how to do it. He's got the Freddie jersey. Doing the Freddie. Muncy to the plate.
Muncy is quite glad that the starter's out of the game.
Yeah, struck out all 3 times against Noel McLean. A healthy dose of breaking balls righty to lefty. You're talking about Dodgers starting the second half the way they are. They played what was probably their worst series of the year to finish off the first half. Getting swept by Arizona. The defense was ugly. They didn't hit. But to come out of the break playing like this, quickly turning the page through the Yankees, the Phillies, and the Mets, trying to go to 6-2 on that trip, or on this trip today. It's a 4-strikeout game for Muncy. 7th inning stretch in New York. Dodgers 4, Mets 1. Time for the Good Hands play, sponsored by Allstate. Hall of Fame good Andrew Jones inducted this weekend, and you benefited from that glove for many years.
Oh, did I? I think this one play was I was on the mound, and I'm a fastball pitcher. He's one of the greatest I've ever seen, and just due. So happy for him. First 10 years are unmatched. Yeah, the last 5 maybe not what Andrew would expect, but man, oh man, I'm telling you, first hand view of him playing center field was the greatest treat in the world.
And we mentioned earlier Joe Buck headed into the Hall of Fame this weekend. I was a 12 or 13-year-old kid. I remember sitting there watching the World Series, and my mom asked me, she happened to ask, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I knew sort of what I wanted to do, but I remember pointing to the TV and saying that. I want to be just like him. I want to be like Joe Buck, who was calling, I think, his 4th World Series at that point. It was Yankees Diamondbacks in 2001, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be like. And so to Joe, congratulations and thank you for all those years of showing me the way the job should be done.
Amen to that.
Hall of Fame example, and I know for you as a Hall of Fame partner.
Yeah, crazy how the journeys happen. I never thought mine would be in the booth after I retired, but what a fun ride it's been.
Andrew fan, Smoltz fan, sitting out there in the Braves hat. Alex Vesia has replaced Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 9-1-2 for the Mets in this 7th inning. Alvarez reached both times with a walk and a single. And Vesia quietly, the last few years, one of the top left-handed relievers in the National League. Fastball's not going to break 92, 93 most days, but guys just don't see it. That high spin up fastball.
Yeah, there it is. And couple that with his slider. They're not hitting it.
One gone in the 7th, and down to Kenny.
Well, obviously, I want to congratulate Joe. It is so deserved that he gets the award from the Hall of Fame, the Ford Frick Award. It is overdue. But I also want to mention the writer who won the BBWAA's Career Excellence Award. That's Paul Hoynes from the Cleveland Plain Dealer. He is one of the favorites of all of us. We all love Hoynesy. He is a character, and of course, he has grinded it out for decades, covering the Indians and then the Guardians. Also overdue. Hoynesy is quite deserving.
Awesome. What's the Hall of Fame weekend like?
It's a blast. It's relaxing. It's amazing. You get to see people that you're. Look, I don't have much hair left, but my hair just stands up when I see Sandy Koufax, when I see guys of the era that you just would never get a chance to be around. And it's just a cool weekend when you don't have the stress on you. And to see the guys go in for the first time is pretty neat. And Johnny Bench does an incredible job, because Johnny takes all the young first-time Hall of Famers. You think you're going to get something done to you by a veteran, but what he does is pretty unique. He tells you to go on the porch of the Otesaga Hotel and sit there for 5 minutes, and you're like, oh man, what's going to happen? And he goes, I want you to think about this journey and what it's like and what it means to you. And it really is a cool 5 minutes to think about what you're doing and what you're about to do before it happens. And you just sit out looking out over the lake going, man, this is surreal. And then you're part of a team, a new team, for the rest of the time.
Really special. I was surprised to hear you say that it's a relaxing weekend, given your 8-hour round trip. City Field, 2 out.
Well, yeah, that's a little different, but it's still, you know, I always said if I could make every single one. I missed one because of a hip replacement, but I would do everything I could to get there. And the guys that do, I just heard this weekend will be the most Hall of Famers ever at the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Most ever. So kudos to everybody who's made that journey to come out and get a chance to see Beltran and Jones and Jeff Kent get inducted.
All guys who either one or both of these franchises can lay partial claim to. Even Andrew Jones had 1 year with the Dodgers in 2008. Jeff Kent started with the Blue Jays, got traded to the Mets for David Cone partway through his rookie year. And so the first part of his career was here with the Mets, first 5 full seasons. And then he finished his career with the Dodgers, final 4 years. And you all know what Carlos Beltran did for the Mets. Could Carlos Beltran be the next manager of the Mets? His name's been thrown around some. 3-0 on Lindor. No matter who the manager ends up being moving forward, what Andy Green is doing, no matter what the record winds up being, that's a tough situation, a tough ask, and he's handling it as well as anybody could. He was the player development head, so he wasn't even around these guys, didn't really have relationships with these guys. And pressed into duty. He had been a manager for the San Diego Padres, but the first time doing that job since.
I honestly think the Mets could do exactly what the Braves are doing this year. Last year, the Braves start off horrifically, losing their first 8 of 9 or whatever it was. They had all kinds of injuries. The year was lost. This year, they come out of the gates total opposite. They're healthier, even though they've had health issues. I think the Mets could do the same thing next year, but that's going to be the hard question to ask, and the patience of certain things that you have the luxury to do, to trade and see how patient they can be, to see that they believe next year they're going to be just fine.
Bichette, who knocked in their lone run back in the 5th, could get the Mets right back in this game with one swing here. Bichette's got 10 home runs this year. Yeah, the ultimate question is going to be, do you look at this and say you throw it out, it's just a bad, nightmarish year with a bunch of injuries, can't repeat? Or do you say there's something fundamentally flawed here that needs to be fixed?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, you know, for years, it's been about keeping their rotation healthy. They had not been able to do it. They had some injuries already this year, one flukish in Holmes. But now they're building some of those young arms into shape, and you could see what they could build. They just need that core player, the position players, to stay healthy and do what they're capable of doing.
But you're right, they've got the foundational pitching. You got to be excited about these young guys that have come up. It's not just McLean, but a core of a rotation, core young guys in Ewing and Bench, and Soto and Lindor. Bichette bounces this one down to third from Muncy. Will go to short way to wrap up the 7th. We take a look at Fox Foresight, built with Gemini on Google Cloud. Who giving Dodgers 97% chance to hang on to win this one. They lead 4-1 to the top of the 8th inning. Mookie Betts takes the ball from Duarte, and we say thanks to Google Cloud for those insights. Kyle Tucker's home run started the scoring, the first of 3 in the 3rd inning. Dodgers got their 4th run in the 5th. Lone run for the Mets came in the bottom of the 5th on a Bichette single. Mookie Betts 1 for 3. Grounder past the glove to second baseman Simeon. First out.
Wow, and that's not playing that position too often. He was way off the bag. Beatty made him move for that ball. Of course, not being an all-time first baseman. Watch this right here. He's got, oh, where are you going? But got back in time.
Hadn't started there since May 1st, and this is the first time in his career he's played that position this year. Tommy Edman waves over the first one from Duarte.
I mean, he's going to look at that video and go, what was I thinking?
He had a long way to go by the time he decided to head there. Daniel Duarte back in the major leagues after fighting his way back from injury. A couple of seasons with the Cincinnati Reds, handful of games with the Twins, but then underwent Tommy John surgery, missed most of 2 seasons. His 5th game with the Mets this year, and has not given up a run yet. Alvarez in some pain after that.
He's gotten hit in 2 different spots, and that one hurt. You see where his hand is, but watch where it gets him. Right on the wrist of his glove. No padding there whatsoever.
This guy's broken every possible thing there is to break in that part of his body. He's had a thumb injury, a pinky injury, a wrist injury, a hand injury all over the last 2 years. Just matriculating up a little bit, now forearm bruised. Sleeper Picks sponsored by Mattress Firm as they take a look at Alvarez. Headed into the deadline, a lot of candidates. Going to have a lot of calls coming here to David Stearns and the Mets. And how deep do they go? All these guys seem like pretty obvious pieces for them to trade. Either going to be free agents at the end of the season or in one more year. As Edman gets hit by this 2-strike pitch. Kenny, how deep do they end up going into that roster in the sell-off?
Fairly deep, Joe, because they have a number of players on expiring contracts. We saw some of them just there. I expect them to make at least 6 trades. You see Peralta and Holmes. Holmes has a player option, but he's like Shane Bieber from last year, coming off a significant injury, but will be in demand and is likely to decline that player option. The Mets don't seem interested in giving him an extension. The 2 lefty relievers, A.J. Minter and Brooks Raley, the outfielders, Luis Robert Jr. and Tyrone Taylor, and the big question will likely be not Lindor, but Luke Weaver. The Mets have him for another year. They want to compete in 2027, but the demand for relievers is always high.
Tucker. So, I mean, with that in mind, Kenny, is there going to be any major league talent that'll come back to New York, you think, or are they getting prospects that are ready to graduate soon?
Joe, that's a good question, because the way the deadline is setting up, you have very few sellers and a ton of buyers. And the Mets are one of these teams that might not want prospects back. They might want some major league talent. Now, with players on expiring contracts, just 2+ months left, actually 2 months in these cases, I don't know that you would get much either way, so it probably will be the bulk of prospects coming back. But at the same time, they might look for some major league help.
Ouch. That's Tucker in some pain. Kenny, what do the Dodgers do?
That, too, is an interesting question. Now, Dave Roberts said this week, we might be sellers more so than buyers. I don't know that I believe that. Because of the depth of the roster, they could trade Eric Lauer, starting pitcher who's done really well for them coming over from Toronto. Kike Hernandez is coming back. That could make Alex Call expendable. But the big question is going to be, if the Tigers make Tarek Skubal available, do the Dodgers make a play? Now, they've got a ton of prospects. And they also know that, as John was saying before, the next collective bargaining agreement is going to look different. It's going to include greater payroll restrictions. And the Dodgers are going for a three-peat. So if ever there was a time to make a move like that, it's now. But at the same time, they might not want to pay the price.
Tommy Edman was running with that pitch. He'll head back 2-2 on Tucker. And as the Ken Rosenthal show continues, I ask you, Ken, speaking of Tarek Skubal, where do the Tigers stand on that whole thing?
They keep playing well. And as they keep playing well, they're going to be reluctant to do it. Now, what I expect to happen is for the Tigers to set a bar, a standard that they want to meet in any Tarek Skubal trade. If they hit it, if someone gives them what they're looking for, then maybe they do it regardless of where they are in the standings. But at the same time, and John, I want to hear you on this, you're trading a back-to-back Cy Young winner. I know he's a potential free agent, but that's a difficult thing to do when you've got a chance in a weak American League to maybe make the World Series.
Yeah, it is, but I'm thinking strictly from a fan base would understand if it changes your franchise knowing you're not going to re-sign him, then I think you have to entertain it. And if that bar is met, I think you have to strongly consider it. I know what the player said. The player saying all the right things. He wants to finish with Detroit, and I get all that. But these next 7 days are going to be the most crucial 7 days for the Detroit Tigers, because if they do win 5 out of 7 or 7 out of 9, then the chances of keeping them are greater. But man, if you can change your franchise knowing you're not re-signing this guy, I don't know how the fan base of that city wouldn't say thank you, Tarek Skubal, for everything you did. But here's a boatload of prospects that could change your franchise moving forward, because you're not going to re-sign them.
Even if I'm sitting there as a Tigers fan saying, why can't we be the team that wins the World Series this year with Skubal?
Well, that's why the next 7 days are going to be so important. I mean, they have not had the year up until this point, and certainly came oh so close last year. But I also don't think that you're going to burn a guy out trying to do that.
Edman runs again. Tucker fouls it again. Marathon here.
It's just tricky all the way around. If it got to this point, you feel like they're just going to hang on, and then it becomes the risk reward of you're either left with nothing and no playoffs, or you have one more exciting run with him and a chance in a wide open American League.
How about the Astros, by the way? Astros on the way to a 5th consecutive win. Here's a strike him out, throw him out. That'll finish off this 8th inning. The Astros right back into the picture, too. So forget about Yordan Alvarez if anybody was getting greedy thinking they might turn him into their team. Today's telecast is sponsored by Google Cloud, the official AI partner of MLB. You catch the game like never before with Google Cloud AI. Some of the guys that have worn both these uniforms. Mike Piazza with a very quick trip in Florida in between the Dodgers to the Mets in his Hall of Fame career. 4-1 score to the bottom of the 8th inning. And Edgardo Enriquez on the pitch for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts is talking to us, John, about what is to be accomplished over the last few months. One of the things he brought up is, okay, who are the guys I can trust? And we asked him who has grown in that department the most this year, and who without hesitation said this guy, Edgardo Enriquez, in his 2nd full year.
Yeah, what an arm. Fastball, electric. You saw the cutter right there. Power arm.
Facing 4, 5, and 6 in the Mets lineup. Benj, Robert, and Polanco. 2.41 ERA for Enriquez, who lives there at 100 plus. Just turned 24 out of Cumana, Venezuela. Benj 1 for 3 with a single. Look out, he got hit. Third time the last 4 innings the Mets have had the leadoff man aboard.
Breaking ball. If you're going to get hit on this guy, you want to get hit with a breaking ball. 101 isn't going to feel real good. Even though that doesn't feel great, it's still breaking ball.
Benj aboard to lead off this 8th inning. Up comes Luis Robert. Homered in yesterday's game. He's hit 2 of them. His first 5 games off of the injured list. The back issue that had him out for a lot of the year. Man. 2-0. Fights it off foul. 2 balls and a strike on Robert. Parts of 6 seasons with the White Sox. Him over in a trade this offseason for Luis Angel Acuna and a minor league pitcher. Gold Glove defender. So much potential offensively when he can be healthy. You know, the one fully healthy season that Roberts had, he had 38 home runs and got MVP votes. It was in 2023. Decade since he defected from Cuba, the fall of 2016. Now in his 7th major league year. On a 2-2 from Henriquez. Robert takes it low and the count is full. Let's try to put the pressure on late here. Polanco on deck.
That was a really good take after seeing nothing but fastballs.
Spoils it, stays alive. Dodgers won the first game of this series last night by a final of 4-2. They've won all 4 matchups between the clubs this year. One more coming tomorrow at 1:40 here on the East Coast, 10:40 West Coast. Freddie Peralta for the Mets, Emmett Sheehan for the Dodgers. Way overthrows this one. The Mets have the tying run coming up with nobody out. Coming up on August 9th on Fox, the Stars of IndyCar going full throttle as they visit Portland. August 9th, only on Fox. Tanner Scott has started to warm for the Dodgers. Mark Pryor's out there for a visit with Henriquez, who has not known where it's going so far.
The timing of the ball coming out of his glove has been a little bit erratic, and that alters your command with your fastball. And once you don't have the command with your fastball, it's hard to have the command with your breaking ball. So it's a release point issue, and maybe they're reminding him about some of the cues of get back to the fundamentals of go downhill, get your hand out, pump in some strikes.
He'll face Jorge Polanco, hit 26 home runs last year for the Mariners, but has just one in his first season with the Mets. He also is one of the best hitters in baseball last year with runners in scoring position. Two on, nobody out. 3-run game in the 8th. Henriquez deals and finds the zone. Good visit from Mark Pryor. Strike 1. Well, the Mets have 5 hits, 5 walks, a hit batter in this game, but just the 1 run to show for it back in the 5th. On an 0-1, Polanco fouls it off, strike 2. There's a couple of cutters that have gotten him in the strike zone here.
Now you can go to that breaking ball once you've thrown a couple strikes up in the zone right there. See what he does. He may stay firm, but getting ahead gives him that luxury.
This is up with a 4-seam. Benj at second, Robert at first. 1-2 from Henriquez. Polanco watches it miss for ball 2. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Challenge from Polanco that he's going to lose. That'll be the first out of the inning, and the Mets are out of challenges. Just caught the top of the zone.
And again, that was a worthy challenge because the only way that could have been a strike was to touch that top part of the zone. And that's a leverage challenge. This ball looks high to the hitter. Of course, he's going to be frustrated by that top corner. They did lower the strike zone when they went to the ABS, so still hitting the top of it it's just impossible for hitters.
And those corners of the strike zone, those were the spots that didn't get called consistently in the strictly human zone, but that's a spot where you can go to and get overturned calls. Strike on Marcus Semien. Hitless in 3 tries today, and since returning from the hip injury, 2 for 22. MVP candidate when the Rangers won the World Series in 2023, but the offense has gone downhill each year since.
The crazy part about it, you're not really taught to throw a high breaking ball, but in this era right now, that's exactly what I would do. I would throw fastballs up and high curveballs because they're hard to hit, hard to recognize, and then the ability to bounce one when you throw a low fastball would be right there as well.
Ties him up with 101, but he's able to lay off. On a 2-1, Semien swings through a fastball, 2-2. Semien was traded straight up for Brandon Nimmo. Semien at 207 for the year, Nimmo 270. Got it by him, strike 3. 102. Turn it up an extra notch.
Definitely know he's got the arm, and locates like that, he's not going to give up anything.
And it looks like that's going to do it for Henriquez. Tanner Scott got his first 5-out save as a Dodger earlier on this trip against Philadelphia. Dave Roberts going to ask him for 4 right here. The left-handed Beatty is due up, and Tanner Scott's coming in. Stream every out-of-market MLB game plus MLB Network 24/7. Available at a new low price, $94.99. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. 4-1 game, bottom of the 8th. The Mets have the tying run at the plate, and Dave Roberts has called on his closer, Tanner Scott, to come on right here. Andy Green going to counter, sends up a pinch hitter in Tyrone Taylor, righty to pinch hit for the lefty Beatty. Beatty just a 140 hitter against left-handed pitching. Taylor has hit lefties like an all-star, 280 with an OPS up around 900. And another guy that could be on the move with the deadline coming up. 7 home runs this season. Benj at second. He was hit by a pitch. Robert at first. He walked. Mets have had chances throughout this game. Swing and a miss on that slider that has been devastating this year.
54 strikeouts, 5 walks for Scott.
Down the line, that's a fair ball. A pinch hit base hit from Tyrone Taylor. Benjamin to score. Roberts right behind him. He'll score standing up, and it's a pinch hit double from Tyrone Taylor. Mets back in the game at 4-3. And the big hit they've been looking for was hitting it on the bench.
Yeah, he does a good job on a slider inner half that doesn't get deep enough, keeps it fair. Now it's turned into a 1-run game.
They put Alvarez on intentionally. Not too often you see the 9-hitter put on intentionally, but this sets up lefty-lefty at the top of the order with Ewing. Ewing's actually hit lefties just as well as he has righties. Today's 0 for 4. Tying run at second, go ahead run at first, 2 outs, 8th inning. A ball on Ewing. Lindor is on deck. Oh! Got the call, and the Mets out of challenges. In the air down the left field line. Muncy's over into foul ground to the wall. He's out of room. Ewing still alive with a 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, this is where if you're Scott, you put that other slider out of your mind and you execute a slider away against a left-handed hitter after seeing 2 fastballs.
The rookie Ewing swings and misses through the elevated fastball to end the inning. But a pinch hit 2-run double from Tyrone Taylor has made it a 1-run game. Coming up next weekend on Fox, it's the Yankees and the Cubs. 7 o'clock Eastern on Baseball Night in America. Here in New York tonight, it's a good one. It's 4-3, Dodgers in front. 2-run double from Tyrone Taylor last inning, making it a 1-run game. And here's Huascar Brazoban. What an emergence he's had the last few seasons. Jared Young's into the game to play first base after Beatty had been pinch hit for. Brazoban didn't make it to the major leagues until he was 32 years old. But now in his 3rd season with the Mets, career year last year. And this season, 1 blow-up game against the Braves, but outside of that, he's been almost unhittable. Double and a walk for Teoscar Hernandez. Gets under this one into shallow left field. That's Lindor for the first out. And it'll be Lindor to lead off the bottom of the 9th for the Mets. Lindor, Bichette, and Benj coming up. Brock Stewart has started to warm for the Dodgers. We got switch hitter, righty lefty, and they have used Tanner Scott pretty heavily the last few days. So we'll see how much more Dave Roberts gives him. That almost hits rushing. To first and caught by Young. Have a knuckling line drive right there. 2 up and 2 down. And play ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Mr. Met hoping for something to cheer for. Mets have cut it to 1 here in the 9th. Ohtani, who's 0 for 4 today, takes a ball. 0 for 4 today, and in the month of July, down below 230 as he deals with that knee issue. Sends this one in the air to left field, but not deep. Ewing towards the corner is there, and that's a 7-pitch inning for Brazoban. So fasten those seatbelts to the bottom of the ninth. The big hitters coming up for New York. Well, time for our USAA team leaders. If you happen to just join us, give you an idea how we got here. Yamamoto 6 innings, gave up just 1 run. Freddie Freeman a 3rd consecutive 3-hit game, and Kyle Tucker's gone deep for the 2nd time in as many games this weekend. The Mets, though, with a run in the 5th and 2 in the 8th to get to within 1, and it's going to be Brock Stewart right away here. So Tanner Scott faces 3 hitters in the 8th. Brock Stewart comes on with 2 saves in his career. One as a rookie in 2017 and the other one in 2023. And he's going to have to earn it. It's Lindor, Bichette, and Benj for the Mets.
Now the heartbeat will be different, I can guarantee you. It's not just another relief appearance.
2 walks for Lindor today, 6 home runs this season. The guy's at 30, 3 years in a row. High strike, and again, those 2 challenges getting burnt, maybe in less than ideal situations to use them. Have bit him a couple times in this 9th inning. They would have liked to have challenged. They're all out. Stewart has come back to the Dodgers. Started his career with LA, went away for a few seasons, dealt with injuries, brought back at the deadline last year. And soon after they got him last year, he was injured, so was shut down after a few games. Was injured early on this year, but a 2.19 ERA in 12 games since getting healthy. 34 going on 35. Delivers a 2-1 to Lindor.
One thing he's got to do is stay out of that area with Lindor. That's the power stroke. He leaves a fastball middle in. It's not coming back. Getting him out away. He's been susceptible to that pitch away. He's trying to throw that breaking ball on the back foot. Has missed twice.
Another 2-2. It's fly down the left field line, and we'll do it again.
Almost got it away. That's where the target was, but still missed the outside part of the plate. Caught too much of it.
Rally caps on for Sean Manaea. Everybody trying to give the Mets a little bit of good feeling, a little bit of juju here. Got him with the high fastball, right where he wanted it.
Got it away and got it up. 2 good places.
So 1 away in this 9th inning brings up Bo Bichette. Bichette 2 for 4 has continued to produce for the Mets. Just misses away. 1 challenge left for the Dodgers. Stewart's 1-0. Bichette bounces one towards the middle. Easy play for Mookie Betts. 2 gone in the 9th. So Brock Stewart with that blood pumping a little bit hotter, a little bit faster. Looking for his first save in years. Looking for his first save as a Dodger in 9 years. And it's up to Carson Benj. Strike 1. That thing dancing.
Good changeup. Good pitch selection on the first pitch. You know the guy was trying to tie the game up with a swing.
He threw
him the changeup, and then he threw him the heater. There's the changeup there, and then Fastball is going to seem like 100 after seeing something slower.
Brock Stewart picks up his first save in years. And the Dodgers beat the Mets 4-3. They are 5-0 against New York this year, and they are 6-2 on this road trip to open up the second half.
Well, the Dodgers find ways to win and on the road once again, but when they score first, they're tough to beat.
Safe travels back to Cooperstown, buddy.
Yep, looking forward to it. Be a late night, but early morning and great festivities.
Dodgers win this one 4-3. They'll look for the sweep tomorrow. Sheehan against Peralta. Back on your local networks. Coming up after the break, we'll get you to studio. Chris Myers and the D-Train. Dontrell Willis will have post-game coverage. For John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Citi Field. We'll talk to you again soon.